here I am with two incredibly beautiful, awesome, talented moms. So as I typically say, I hope the sun is shining wherever you are. If it's not shining on the inside, absolutely hope it's shining on the outside. So what are we here discussing today? It's quite simply, especially as new parents or parents out there who are seasoned and wish they had, let's say, a resource like this, is things that they wish they knew. Like as new parents or right now.
Babe, can you come? Sorry.
As a, again?
Yeah, babe, can you come over closer so you can hit the record when it goes out?
Okay, great. All right, great.
You hit the black button first, and
Okay,
then
boom.
boom,
Boom,
boom.
gotcha, boom, boom. The bop, bam. Spit it out. Is it going? Sprout.
Yeah. It was going, but then
It was going, then I stopped it.
Okay.
Because I don't know what I'm doing.
So if you hear it go,
right.
you can hit it back.
Because as new parents, and more specifically new moms, I think it's really important that we continue to be a resource to those who are coming after us and those who might be in a similar position to us. So I'm going to let the beautiful moms introduce the little bambinos and bambinas that happen to be here with us right now. We decided to introduce them to you all too. So without further ado, the new mommies and the bambinos. I'm sure there's a roaring round of applause wherever you all are right now.
Yay! Okay. Hi, I'm Cynthia Padilla Pearson, and this is Stanley David Manuel Pearson III. He is 3 months, will be 3 months old soon, born August 17th at 7:35 in the evening.
7:35 and 8:35.
8:35.
8:35.
Just kidding.
I was there for the whole thing.
Oops.
It's
Whatever.
We're on Central Time.
Yeah.
Central Time.
Central time. Just kidding. Right.
And my name is Renalyn Thomas. People call me Makeup by Ren, and this is Arabella. Arabella Rain Ramos Thomas. And she is 2 months old and something minutes. I can't really complete that.
They're cool. All right, folks. So if you want to, feel free to shoot some comments shoot us some comments, whatever kind of questions you have in the comments, and we'll do our best to get to them as you continue to watch and learn from us as we all learn from each other. So I guess first things first, I ask a very general question. We can go from there. Like, how does it feel being a new mom? Let's just talk about what's that like? You all are roughly 2 to 3 months in the game. Like, how do we feel? What's new?
Feeling good. I mean, I feel like, yeah, like a big breath, like,
It's a lot.
like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that it's one of those things where until you live it, do you understand what that means?
Yeah,
Or,
that's what it's exactly.
sometimes. But it's been a growing experience for both mom and dad and baby. But I feel like now we're approaching the 3-month marker,
Yeah,
so
it's getting better.
we're getting more familiar with things,
Yeah.
like getting used to the nuances and just building somewhat of a routine, whatever that
Yes,
means.
thank you,
But
Jesus.
really just understanding him a
Yeah.
lot more of what he wants and needs at whatever time that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as a person who didn't have a baby before, because we're both first time moms,
Yeah, first time moms.
it's kind of like, oh, you just have to take a step back and realize that there are more important things in the world than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And your life focus changes, and you have to like change your whole life around.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you do, when they say you receive so much joy, it's true. It's hard work, but the joy you get in return for being a new parent and seeing their little smiles.
Yeah. Seeing
know?
their smiles.
Now they're smiling. They weren't smiling in the beginning, I think.
It was like cry. Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
It
what's,
makes it worth it.
like, what would you say the toughest part about being a parent is, like, a new parent, especially something that you didn't hear before? Someone was like, hey, by the way, like,
Oh, well, I think that you hear, everybody says get your sleep. Everybody knows you don't sleep.
Right.
But I think what was hard for me was like, people kind of like change their behavior towards you. So like
Really?
you deal with criticism, you deal with unwarranted advice. Some of it's good advice.
yeah.
And you also deal with people, I know you know what I'm talking about, Stan. You deal with people kind of forgetting that you're a person and it's like all about the baby. And that might sound egotistical, but like you know, you have wants and needs still. You're still who you were before the baby.
Right.
So dealing with like trying to accept that emotional impact is huge, and people don't talk about that as much.
Accepting emotional impact.
That's a big one.
Yeah,
That's major.
That's a big one.
yeah.
Yeah, I think like early on too, like you just are so overwhelmed with having to, well, first you go from the 9-month pregnancy, you know, to then having to the delivery and then dealing with that, but also instantly you have to provide, you know, there's no, let's take a week break and then we start the feeding process, like, or, you know, whatever. It's just like instantly, like you go into like, I have to provide for this child, like, and so
Like,
that
not
part
just emotionally,
really
but
drains. Yeah, it drains you. So it drains a bit of your spirit. It drains a bit of your energy, obviously. Yeah,
it's spirit draining.
It's a lot. It's a strong emotional toll that people don't prepare you for. I know it's really hard to prepare somebody for this, but I think it's important to say, like, really, you are going to be drained, and it's okay to be drained, but you have to be careful not to be, you know.
Yeah. From the outside looking in, I have to say that's something that is not talked about specifically. Like not just the emotional, but the actual physical draining of, like you are literally giving your from that moment. Obviously, like right after birth, like they bring the baby, like all right, whoop, time to feed, like immediately, and
switch is turned on.
and that wasn't something that was talked about. Do you feel like is there anything else you feel like no one told me about this before it was showtime? Is there anything specific? Let's say we're talking about just the day of birth, or you know, getting things going. Just a little personal. I hope that's okay.
No, I mean the recovery is you can read about different things and see, you know, they see things online, different articles, but they don't really prepare you about how much you're going to either bleed or you know how much you're just going to be emotionally like all over the place, you know, because at one moment you're happy, then one moment you're sad, and one moment you're like, what did I just do, or like I can't believe I just did that, or then you know, all of that, and particularly the physiological changes that happen affect you so deeply that no matter what you read, no matter what you've heard, it doesn't prepare you for actually feeling
avalanche.
it.
Like an
It
avalanche.
is an avalanche.
Yeah, because like you know, like I have to feed the baby and burp and change it, but it's like all at once, and you're tired, and your body's wrecked, and your hubbies are like wrecked too,
They
didn't sleep the whole time. So it's like you go from normal to crazy. You don't even like, you're not okay. Now we're gonna do this.
A gradual move into this process.
It's all crazy.
It's all crazy.
Like, I find that, let's say on TV with, you know, some things, whether it be being sensationalized or, as Cynthia often mentions, the word whimsical, like it all feels like, looks so magical and wow, and some idiots might watch my teen mom be like, oh, I can do that, and clearly it's television. So from that standpoint, you know, how do you cope, you know, and to move on? Because I do feel like, or I'll ask this, is it magical? Or in addition to magical, what might it be? Because we get so caught up in like, oh, this is what looks good to tell people. But what's the real behind that?
It's magical in the sense that you created a miracle, right? And to think like it was, you know, in your tummy, and then, you know, he comes out, she comes out. But that is magical, and that's something you just can't, explain, that emotion. But I think that, you know, labor and delivery, it's very dangerous even these days. In the modern age, it's still dangerous for
people
women.
People are dying still.
People
in
are
2018,
dying.
folks are dying, or women are dying.
We still haven't figured this out. Like, how is it, like, we're 22, we haven't figured out how to safely, you know, deliver children in this world. But beyond that, I think that it's also just a physical toll on your body that you can do so many exercises pre-delivery, and take as many vitamins, but it really takes the support system around you to keep you sane.
That's what it
but
is. That's
for, you know, family and friends,
system.
I don't think that, I don't know how I would have done it by myself, or how anybody does it by themselves. Like, that's, you know, kudos to them. But it's just so difficult to figure out how to balance taking care of yourself, taking care of your child, and then taking care of your family too, you know, your husband and all that stuff. That's a lot of hats to wear. You know, we've always been a proponent of women's movement, like, you know, power to girls and all that stuff. And I just, now as a mom, I'm like, no, really, like women are amazing. Like, I mean, I knew before, but this is like a whole nother
Like
level
mad respect to moms.
of respect. Yeah.
Mad, because before I was just like, oh, you can't do that because you're with the baby. And I was like, okay, you're always late. Now I told Cynthia, I'm going to be there at 11. Oh, 11:30. Now it's looking like 12.
Yeah.
But I agree, like a support system is huge because you still want to maintain your sanity.
Yeah.
Cynthia and I were really lucky that we delivered so close because we had each other to talk to. And it's different to have your parents versus, you know, family and then friends too, because you need to vent sometimes to different people.
Right.
And different people have different opinions.
Right.
But I remember I filmed, you know, they have a lot of like glamorous day in the life of the newborn videos.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty lighting and, you know, all this like whimsical.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're getting changed. And I filmed mine, I was like, breast milk stains all over my shirt,
Yeah.
bags under my eyes, and I was like,
yeah.
the camera fell over, but I only have one hand, I can only do one thing with one hand because, you know? Learning how to do something one-handed.
Oh my gosh.
It's so
When
hard.
I had to go to the bathroom and I was like nursing him and then using the toilet, I was like, oh, well, we're going to do this.
You become
Like,
one-handed expert.
And there ain't no shame in that. Like,
No.
like I think it's. Would you say that it's just one of those like everyone has so much advice, but sometimes you just have to get it
Go
done.
through it, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just like
Get it done.
Yeah.
And like not always listen to people who are so firm in their advice, like you have to do this or you do this, but not do that. That type of advice isn't necessarily good. You know, it's
Right.
always important to, I think, take into consideration different perspectives and things like that. But at the end of the day, what really happens once you become a mom, I think those instincts really just kick in, and you know your baby.
Yeah.
I mean, even sometimes, obviously, you need to seek professional advice and medical advice for things, but you know your baby, you know your body, and I think that people discredit that so much, is not listening to intuitively to ourselves on what we feel, what we think, and what's best for our family, and ultimately, obviously, what's best for the baby.
So let's say, you know, someone's giving birth in a week or in a month.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of thoughts would you get if they called you right now and be like, hey, is there anything you can tell me that